We've been sold a compelling illusion. The idea that the universe is a grand vending machine, dispensing our every desire, if only we want it badly enough. We're taught to visualize, to script our lives like manifestos, to plaster vision boards with images of dream homes, luxury cars, perfect relationships, and the ever-elusive best version of ourselves. Social media amplifies this doctrine, making it seem like wanting is enough, like desire itself is a currency. But what if the secret isn't in the intensity of wanting, but in the quiet depth of being? What if chasing desire is merely a distraction from cultivating who we truly are? In today's world, it's easy to get caught in this pursuit. Imagine the image. Hands reaching out for something just out of grasp. Luxury, success, admiration. Then contrast that with moments of stillness. Someone walking in nature, meditating under dappled sunlight, journaling quietly in a room without distractions. These aren't just aesthetic contrasts, they reflect a deeper philosophical truth. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." It's a reminder from one of history's greatest Stoics that the inner world shapes the outer one, not the other way around. Scientific studies echo this ancient wisdom. Research into subjective well-being, including the famous Easterlin paradox, has shown that while increased income does improve happiness at lower levels, its impact plateaus quickly. In other words, once basic needs are met, more material wealth doesn't lead to significantly greater fulfillment. Across countries, this holds even more firmly. Nations with higher average income don't necessarily report higher average happiness. It suggests that beyond a certain point, joy and contentment become inward experiences, not external acquisitions. And even popular personal development tools like affirmations aren't the magic bullet they're often marketed to be. Psychology research into self-affirmation theory reveals that affirmations only work effectively when they align with one's existing self-perceptions. For people with low self-esteem, saying "I am lovable" or "I am successful" can feel dissonant, so much so that it actually reinforces their internal doubts. It's not the repetition of a desire that works. It's the foundation of belief underneath. You must be before you can truly have. This disconnect is evident in everyday life. Picture someone who longs desperately for a romantic partner. They visualize love daily, write it in their journal, fill vision boards with pictures of couples. But internally, they're gripped by deep fears of vulnerability and a lack of self-worth. Despite the intensity of their desire, they unintentionally sabotage relationships because their internal state, their being, is not aligned with what they want. Or take the ambitious professional who relentlessly climbs the ladder of success. They accumulate titles, accolades, and money, yet find themselves overwhelmed by an unshakable emptiness. Their wanting has been fulfilled, but the inner being, perhaps devoid of purpose, connection, or meaning, remains unfulfilled. Case studies of real-life scenarios make this even clearer. Think about lottery winners who suddenly receive everything they've ever dreamed of, millions in the bank, material freedom. But without the internal maturity, financial literacy, or discipline to match their new reality, many spiral into bankruptcy and unhappiness. Their external world changed overnight, but their internal being did not. And so, their wealth became a burden instead of a blessing. Or, consider the person who craves popularity and social acceptance, yet repels others with a neediness rooted in insecurity. They are not lacking in want, they are lacking in self-awareness, in self-acceptance. Their inner state pushes away the very thing they crave. As Kurt Cobain once put it, wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person you are. There's an irony in that statement that cuts deep. The more we try to escape our current self in pursuit of something else, the more disconnected we become from the power that's already within us. Oprah Winfrey echoed this when she said, "The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. Not by adding more to the vision board, not by chanting louder, but by shifting the way we think, feel, and show up in the present moment. Maybe it's time to stop reaching outward and start turning inward. Because in the end, the universe doesn't respond to what we want. It responds to who we are." Imagine the universe not as a wish-granting genie, but as a finely tuned mirror, one that doesn't respond to your wants, but to your wavelength. It reflects not what you hope for, but who you are in the quiet, unseen depths of your being. Think of it like this. Your dominant thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and self-image are constantly broadcasting a signal. And just like a radio receiver only locks onto the frequency it's tuned to, the experiences, people, and opportunities you draw in are those that resonate with your internal frequency, not necessarily the ones you consciously wish for. This concept isn't just metaphorical, it's mirrored in the natural world. Picture a tuning fork. Strike one, and a nearby fork of the same frequency begins to hum in harmony, even though it's never touched. That's resonance. But if the second fork is tuned differently, it remains still, unmoved. The same principle explains why some people feel like instant soulmates, while others remain strangers, despite proximity. In physics, resonance occurs when an external force vibrates at an object's natural frequency, causing it to oscillate with increasing amplitude. This phenomenon was vividly demonstrated in the dramatic collapse of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, where wind, matching the bridge's natural frequency, caused it to sway uncontrollably until it shattered. It's a sobering illustration of how powerful alignment or misalignment can be. This same kind of resonance plays out in our emotional lives too. Emotional contagion is a real, scientifically observed effect where people unconsciously mirror each other's expressions, tones, and postures. You've felt it before, when someone's laughter makes you laugh, or when a room's mood shifts the moment a cheerful person walks in. Research by Elaine Hatfield and her colleagues has shown that emotions are contagious, spreading from person to person almost like a virus. It's a social resonance that shapes how we connect, who we attract, and what kinds of experiences we have. Biology backs this up with fascinating discoveries like mirror neurons, specialized brain cells that activate both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing it. These neurons, first discovered by Giacomo Rizzolatti and his team, are believed to be the neurological foundation for empathy and emotional understanding. Essentially, we're wired to resonate with the inner states of those around us, and this mutual mirroring creates a feedback loop of attraction or repulsion. This is why people don't attract what they want, they attract what they are. James Allen, in his timeless work, As a Man Thinketh, wrote, "Men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are." In other words, the law of attraction isn't about forcefully wishing things into existence. It's about becoming the kind of person to whom those things naturally gravitate. Another quote from Allen drives this home. "As he thinks, so he is. As he continues to think, so he remains." Our persistent inner states, what we ruminate on, feel deeply, and believe about ourselves, eventually harden into reality. Social psychology supports this. Studies have consistently shown that individuals who experience positive emotions, joy, gratitude, enthusiasm, are seen as more attractive and likable by others. It's not just about looks, it's about energy. The "what is beautiful is good" stereotype gets turned on its head here. Because often, it's the good, that is, the positive internal state, that makes someone seem beautiful. Similarly, research into the similarity attraction effect shows that people are more drawn to those who share their values, attitudes, and energy. It's a form of psychological resonance. Birds of a feather don't just flock together, they're magnetically drawn. Real-world examples bring this concept to life. Think of the chronic complainer, the so-called negative Nelly. Always focused on problems, they tend to find themselves surrounded by drama, difficult people, and more things to complain about. Their internal negativity becomes a magnet for external negativity. Contrast that with the enthusiastic connector, someone who radiates positivity and genuine interest in others. These people often find themselves surrounded by opportunities, good conversations, and strong relationships, not by luck, but by resonance. Then there's the authentic leader. They don't chase followers, they embody their values. Their integrity and clarity draw loyalty, trust, and admiration without effort. Their being is magnetic. There are also powerful case studies that illustrate this truth. Take the online data who curates a perfect profile, flawless pictures, exaggerated accomplishments, a carefully crafted persona. They may attract attention, but struggle to form meaningful connections. Why? Because their real vibration, their fears, insecurities, and misalignment eventually clashes with the facade. On the flip side, consider the recovering addict. Through inner healing, self-compassion, and discipline, they transform not just their habits, but their energy. And as they do, they begin to attract new friends, mentors, opportunities, and environments that support their growth. Their changed internal frequency begins to shape a new external reality. At the heart of the law of attraction lies not what you do, but who you are, your internal state, your beliefs, your emotions, your integrity. Attraction doesn't begin with effort, it begins with embodiment. This section dives into 5 core pillars of being that form the invisible architecture of your magnetic field. These aren't just traits, they're frequencies that shape the reality you draw in. The first and most foundational pillar is self-worth and belief. If you don't believe you deserve love, success, or abundance, your subconscious will find ways to sabotage even the best opportunities. You might smile on the outside, but your energy tells another story. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Believe you can, and you're halfway there." It's more than a motivational quote. It's a psychological fact. Take Sarah, for example. She longed for a loving relationship, but kept finding herself in patterns with emotionally distant partners who echoed her inner doubt that she was unlovable. It wasn't until she began therapy and rebuilt her sense of worth that her relationships shifted. She stopped settling, started seeing her own value, and in turn, began attracting people who reflected that same respect and care. This isn't anecdotal fluff. According to Albert Bandura's work on self-efficacy, people who believe in their ability to succeed are significantly more likely to persevere, try new strategies, and reach their goals. Self-worth isn't optional. It's the gateway to alignment. The second pillar is emotional frequency. Think of your emotions as the emotional radio station you're broadcasting 24/7. Are you sending out signals of gratitude, joy, and optimism, or anxiety, bitterness, and fear? Emotions aren't just fleeting moods, they're energy in motion, shaping your field of influence. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In modern psychology, Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory explains how positive emotions expand our awareness, enhance our creativity, and foster social bonds. Positive emotional states aren't just good for your mental health. They make you more approachable, more attractive, and more likely to experience serendipity. Picture two co-workers, one who brings lightness and enthusiasm to conversations, and another who's always grumbling and guarded. The first draws in collaboration and warmth. The second repels it. Their emotional frequency decides the kind of world they live in. Third is alignment of actions and values. Authenticity is not just admirable, it's magnetic. When your actions match your values, people can sense it. There's no pretense, no performance. But when there's a mismatch between what you say you value and how you act, that dissonance creates confusion and even mistrust. Dr. Seuss nailed it with, "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." Consider Mark, who wanted to succeed but took unethical shortcuts, like taking credit for his teammates' ideas. While he did move up, he felt constantly isolated and insecure. His actions clashed with his internal belief in honesty, and that dissonance repelled authentic relationships. Once he realigned his behavior with his values, giving credit, standing up for transparency, he not only found peace, but also attracted allies who valued his integrity. Research on the similarity attraction effect supports this. We're naturally drawn to those whose behavior mirrors our core values. When you live in alignment, you broadcast a clear, coherent signal, and that draws in others who vibe with your truth. These first three pillars, belief in self-worth, mastery of emotional frequency, and living in alignment, aren't just personality traits or good habits. They're energetic anchors. They decide the quality of your relationships, the success of your pursuits, and the synchronicities that unfold in your path. Attraction, at its deepest level, is resonance. And the clearest signal always comes from someone who isn't trying to be anything. They just are. The universe favors evolution. When you are committed to personal growth, learning, and becoming a better version of yourself, you naturally attract opportunities and people who are also on a path of expansion. Personal development isn't just a productivity hack, it's a magnetic frequency. Growth is attractive. When you're actively working on becoming wiser, healthier, more skilled, and more self-aware, you're essentially sending out a cosmic signal. I'm open. I'm ready. I'm evolving. Mahatma Gandhi captured this truth perfectly. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. And science backs it up. In her groundbreaking book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, Carol Dweck explains the power of the growth mindset, the belief that abilities aren't fixed but can be developed through effort and learning. People with a growth mindset not only perform better in school and work, but they also have richer relationships, greater resilience, and a higher likelihood of seizing opportunities others might miss. Imagine someone who constantly invests in learning new skills, reading deeply, or seeking feedback with humility. Their energy is expansive. They attract mentors, collaborators, and even serendipitous breakthroughs. Not because they're lucky, but because their being is already aligned with forward momentum. And that kind of energy pulls in everything that grows with it. True abundance flows when we focus not just on receiving, but on giving and contributing to the world around us. This selfless act creates a powerful positive feedback loop, attracting unexpected blessings and opportunities. There's a reason every spiritual tradition emphasizes giving. It's not just about charity, it's about stepping into alignment with the flow of life itself. When you give, your time, your attention, your kindness, you tap into a deeper energy of abundance. The more you give, the more you receive. It's not just a proverb, it's a spiritual principle and a psychological truth. Take Alex, for example. They volunteered at a local charity, not for networking or recognition, but because they genuinely wanted to help. What followed was beyond their imagination. Connections with mentors, collaborations that led to new ventures, and a level of inner fulfillment that no paycheck alone could offer. Their being as a contributor created ripples of opportunity they never could have planned for. And again, the science backs this up. Positive psychology research, particularly the work of Sonia Lyubomirsky, shows that acts of kindness are linked to greater happiness, reduced stress, and even better physical health. Social psychology research also confirms the norm of reciprocity. People are wired to return generosity. When you give without expectation, you often receive in ways you didn't anticipate. The journey from merely wanting to powerfully being is one of the most transformative shifts a person can make. The best part, this transformation is entirely within your control. You don't need to chase external validation or force outcomes into existence. Instead, by genuinely cultivating the qualities you wish to experience in your reality, love, abundance, peace, confidence, you begin to naturally attract them. This isn't about putting on a mask or playing pretend. It's not fake it till you make it. It's about aligning your internal world so deeply and authentically that the external world responds in kind. Start by turning inward. Engage in honest self-reflection, without judgment. Ask yourself, what beliefs do I carry about myself? What emotions dominate my inner world? How do I habitually behave in situations where I feel triggered or insecure? This step is powerful because awareness is the seed of all change. When you can see your current patterns clearly, you can begin to gently shift them. If you recognize patterns of low self-worth, fear, or scarcity, don't ignore them. Address them. Whether through therapy, coaching, journaling, or proven self-help methods, begin doing the inner work to challenge and dissolve the limiting beliefs that keep you stuck. These beliefs are like invisible walls around your potential, and you have the tools to tear them down. As you work through old beliefs, begin cultivating the emotional states you want to attract. Gratitude, for instance, is not just a feel-good emotion. It's a vibrational frequency that changes your perception of life and draws more things to be grateful for. Mindfulness is another powerful tool. When you become aware of your emotional landscape in real time, you can begin to consciously choose responses instead of unconsciously reacting. By doing this, you start tuning your emotional frequency to one that resonates with peace, joy, and abundance. And you'll notice your relationships, opportunities, and experiences begin to reflect that shift. Just as important is aligning your daily actions with your deepest values. Take time to clearly identify what truly matters to you, whether it's honesty, growth, compassion, or freedom. And then begin adjusting your behavior so that your life reflects those values. When your actions and values are in harmony, you emit an energy of authenticity and integrity that is deeply magnetic to others and to aligned opportunities. Finally, embrace the mindset of continuous growth. Personal development isn't a one-time project. It's a lifelong commitment. Read, listen, learn, reflect, and stay curious. Every time you invest in your growth, you're expanding your capacity to receive. You're becoming the kind of person who not only attracts good things, but knows how to hold onto them and grow with them. This process is not linear. You'll have days where you feel completely aligned and others where old patterns sneak back in. But the more consistently you shift from wanting to being, the more effortlessly the life you once chased will begin to chase you. That's the quiet power of inner transformation. That's attraction redefined.